Okay, hello CAD students. I'm going to make a video here to show you a little bit about how you might start dimensioning your athletic field. So I'm here on our class Schoology page. You can find the assignment here in the sidebar, Athletic Dimensions, and this document right here will open up the Google Doc where you'll follow along the instructions. Now, these instructions here don't tell you exactly how to make your model in AutoCAD. All right, they merely tell you sort of the basic steps. When it actually comes to drawing lines and circles and polylines and rectangles, whatever you need to draw, that stuff you're going to have to either rely on stuff we've learned in class already or maybe learn some new things. Part of the challenge of this assignment is maybe to tackle learning a new skill in AutoCAD on your own. Okay, so I'm going to walk through a full dimensioning of one of these fields. It's not one listed here. It's going to be a tennis court. All right. I've got a tennis court here. The reason I didn't include tennis court as one of the options is it's pretty simple, right? We have ultimately just a bunch of rectangles. I wanted to include ones that were a little more complicated. All right. So relatively hard to find good dimensions on the tennis court. This one will give us all our information. Now, of course, we have some bad chain dimensioning here, but that's okay. We can still make do with it in our model. So let's go ahead and open up AutoCAD here. All right, and how do we want to go about creating a new model? Well, I will start by going to New. I'm going to choose my template to base it off of. Remember, we have that template in our K drive. Now mine's in a slightly different place. Yours is probably in your CAD folder. Mine's right here, part template, and there we go. The way you can check if you're at the right place is if your layout tab looks like this. All right. Okay, so how do we get started here? Well, the first thing we need to do is decide whether we are in inches or meters, right? And whether we're using US measurements or the metric system. And here I can see that we are indeed in feet. All right, so that's all good for me here. I'm going to start off by drawing this large outer green rectangle. All right, now this is technically not part of the court, but it's included here. It's sort of where maybe the referees sit, where you serve from, right? So let's start by drawing that. We can see it's 60 feet by 120 feet. So I'm going to do this with a polyline command. And I am going to zoom in here and, okay, a few things. Number one, I can tell already that I'm jumping from point to point. That means I have this snap mode turned on, this button right there. I'm going to turn that off, all right? And I'm going to start my line by punching in 0, 0. All right, I like to just start my bottom left-hand corner at the origin. Just makes it easier. Really, you could start it wherever you want. You could start it at 10, 10, negative 20, negative 20, 5,000, 1. It doesn't really matter. Let's just, for our purposes, do it at 0, 0. So this line needs to be 60 feet long. No, sorry, I'm going to draw the bottom one. So I want this to be 120 feet long. So one thing I could do is enter in some relative coordinates. I'm going to move over 120 in the x direction, 0 in the y direction. All right, and let's go ahead and just look at that line. It's pretty long, right? It's 120 long. But what we will find is that if we come over here and we go to dimension that line, I need to move my head there. If I scale to fit, and I want to add a dimension onto that, well, it says 10 feet. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I just put it in as 120. Well, I put it in as 120 inches. Inches are the standard unit here. So I actually, want to get rid of that, and I want to redo this line. Okay, this is no good. Now let's try it again. Let's start our polyline at 0, 0, and I want to enter in the number of inches that are in 120 feet. Well, how can I figure that out? Simplest way will be to open up my calculator. All right, 120 feet times 12 inches per foot, 1,440. So let's do relative coordinates. I want to move 1,440 in the x direction and 0 in the y direction. Oops, 0. Now I have this very long line. I'll need to scroll back very far. Let's go ahead and X out of that. Little tip here, you can always hit ZA to zoom so you can see your full line. Now we have a line that will show up as 120 feet. I can see that here if I go back to scale to fit and I dimension this line, 120 feet. There we go, yay. All right, we're rolling along here. Let's go back over to our model tab. Oops. I need to hit escape. There we go. All right, 120 feet long. I know that I want to be 60 feet high, so let's add another polyline here. Okay, how high do I want to go up? I want to go 60 feet, but I got to put it in inches, so I'm going to figure out 60 feet times 12 inches per foot equals 720. So let's do some polar coordinates here. Actually, we'll do 720 at an angle of 90 degrees straight up. There we go. Now I could punch these in with my keyboard, or I can kind of use these snapping features, right? So if I kind of come over this way, I can see how my line will line up. It'll light up green. That means I'm moving at exactly 180 degrees. And as long as I've touched this line down here, then I'll have a green line going that way, and my mouse will snap right to that point, and then I can just connect my rectangle. So go ahead and hit enter to end. I've now got a perfect rectangle, 120 by 60 feet. All right, let's take a look at our next dimension. All right, 21 feet in, we're going to have the top right corner. Let's go ahead and start that from down here. So this will be 21 feet. Let's start from the top left, actually. 21 feet here. And this distance right there, oh, see, this is poor dimensioning. I'm going to have to do some guesswork. This is 36 feet total. I'm guessing it's even on both sides. So 36, that leaves 24. So this is going to be 12 feet down. Okay, 21 feet over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some construction lines to kind of help me do that. Oh, you know what? I was wrong. I need to make these object lines, right? Not border lines. Oops. Object. All right. Okay, now let's draw a construction line from the corner. All right, I'm in the construction layer, and I want to come over 21 feet. All right, sometimes it might help you if you just kind of move up a little bit. All right, let's move straight up and kind of come over like this. And I want to go over 21 feet. 21 times 12, 252. At 252, 0. There we go. That's it, enter there. Now I kind of know where that box is going to start. It's going to start even with the end of that line. And I also want to go 12 feet down. I can come over just a little bit and then start moving down. Now I know that 12 feet is 144 inches, so I can go 144 at an angle of 270. There we go. Now, when I want to actually draw the corner of my next box, it's going to be, I'll show you how I can do this. Polyline, I'll line up at the end of that. I'll line up at the end of that. I'm not clicking anywhere yet until I get, boom, there's my corner. Right there. That will be exactly 12 feet down and 21 feet over. Okay, now let's go look at how long this line is. So this line is going to be 36 feet down. 36 times 12, 432 inches down. So I'm going to move down at 432 at an angle of 270. Very nice. And I'm going to move a total of 78 feet across. 78 times 12, 936. at 936, 0 in the Y direction. Okay, now I can just merely click the rest of these, put in a perfect rectangle. Okay, and again, what did I do wrong here, guys? This should be an object line. You can always highlight it and change it later. It's one of the nice things about CAD. Okay, infinite erasers. Am I covering up my face? There we go. All right, let's take a look back at our model. We've now got the outer edge and we've got this large rectangle drawn right here. We need to put some lines in right here. So a line that goes straight across like this one. So this is 27 feet, that's 36 feet. Again, poor dimensioning, right? These should be baseline dimensions, which would make it easier because I can tell I have 9 total feet, so that's going to be 4.5 feet on each side. Okay, so I want to draw a little construction line here. I'm in my construction layer, draw a little polyline, just kind of go out, and I'll come down. 4.5 feet is 54 inches at 270. Now I can switch over to my object line, and I'll draw a line right here. I'll line it up with that, and I'll draw it straight across, 0 degrees. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing down below. I'm going to go back over to construction, draw a nice little polyline here, come up 54 inches at 90 degrees now, and go back down to my object line, and I'm going to draw another line straight across. Boom. All right, the court is coming together now. Sometimes I like to just clear out these construction lines too. You don't really need them once you've used them. Makes it look a little bit nicer. All right, just got to draw this middle part here. All right, so we've got 18 feet from here to here. All right, so let's figure out. One thing we can do is we can just kind of start our polyline here. We'll go 18 feet over. Oh, got to figure out what 18 feet is. 18 feet times 12, 216 inches. So I'll go 216 at 0 degrees right there. I'll come straight down. Okay, that just made this line right here. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. I know I'm moving quickly. These videos can only be so long, I think. Right here, I'll go 282, whoops, at 282 at an angle of 180. Go, and I'll come straight down. Is it 282? That doesn't. 216. Whoops, my bad. Let me redo that. .216 at an angle of 180, and I'll draw that straight down. There we go. Okay, and the last thing I need is a couple lines right down the middle. So watch how I can do this. Watch this. If I go to draw a line, I can say, I want this, I want that. Now look what shows up right in the middle here. Oops. Oh, I think we need to set it up right. Hold on. Here's a little tip for you. So this is the OSNAP properties. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to check this box that says midpoint. Okay. And that way midpoints will now show up. So watch what happens. I say find this, and I want the midpoint right there. Then I'll drag this over. Boom. No coordinates needed. Have a perfect centered line. Do the same thing again. There. Whoops, I don't want to actually click that. There. There. Find me the midpoint. It should pop up. There it is. Draw it straight down. All right, so there's my tennis court. All right, I'm going to move over here. I'll put scale to fit. Okay, maybe I'll zoom out just a little bit. Okay. It's my tennis court. Okay, I'm running out of time on this video, but that should hopefully get you started.